was only the 1995 Rugby World Cup that literally changed my life. Like I'd never experienced rugby. 13 years old, rugby was the furthest thing from my mind. So soccer was football.
So you started then at 13. I'm intrigued. And how did you know, or how quickly did you know you were excellent?
I bet quick, wasn't it?
Not really. So my first ever game rugby, and I love telling people this. So I went from literally nothing. I was about wee high, 1.4 meters, weighing like 30 kilograms, which is like half a stone. But my first ever game rugby post 95 was for the under 14 G side at King Edward. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It was like I couldn't. I was horrible. Like I was honestly, but it was just everyone in the country was so taken with what had happened a year prior. The inspiration. I mean, I was at Ellis Park on the 24th of June, 1995.
It's absolutely amazing. It must have just totally. I mean, obviously when a World Cup or a major tournament comes to a country, it's a massive thing. But that with Mandela, the whole thing, it must have been unbelievable.
No, it was, and I didn't really understand I was young, so I didn't really understand the apartheid era. I got given a lot of privilege in terms of being a person of colour in South Africa. So I was very sheltered from the struggles of the past. And my dad was a massive rugby fan, and he sort of saw what was happening. But being at that stadium at Ellis Park on the 24th of June, like it's so vivid in my memory. Matt Damon was horrible in terms of the recollection of every, like as South Africans, we remember every detail, right?
Of course.
But I think like as a 12-year-old boy, like the airplane, the Boeing flying over the stadium, like the South Africans who were a year, 2 years prior before democracy, like there was just so much divide, and there's still so much divide. But Nelson Mandela walking out in that number 6 Springbok jersey, which was a symbol of oppression for 80% of our population, right? But a whole crowd shouting Madiba, Madiba. And then Francois Pienaar's words on the end saying it wasn't for the 60,000 in the stadium, it was for the 48 million South Africans. I mean, as a 12-year-old boy, you're like, I want to do that, right?
Stunning.
So then I hadn't played. We didn't have rugby in our English primary school. Like it was very much an Afrikaans sport. So the next year, under 14G, and I was like, this is still pretty cool. I think I still scored 2 tries in my first game. So there was already potential.
So you were a winger then?
No, I was scrum half.
Oh, okay. Because of the size.
Yes,
So were you quick though as a scrum half?
Yeah, always.
Did you have the speed? You always had the speed.
What do you mean was I quick? I'm so quick, Marcus. Like,
Did you have the speed
at
30 kilograms, 1.4?
Racing a cheetah, yes. I was doing it back then. Right? Like, we're running the streets against animals. Have you not seen African continent, Marcus?
Any man that runs against a cheetah must fancy himself a little bit, do you know what I mean?
His legs were small, he was 1.4 metres and 30 kilograms, that's all he was.
Didn't have a neck. I'll never forget. My mom bought me shoulder pads. Like you couldn't see my neck. I used to run like this. But yeah, I mean, South Africans so embraced rugby, and it became a part of our culture. It became part of. There was like now a real hope of South African, and the game became professional in '96. I was like, oh, I'm not that great at soccer. I'm never going to make it. And our high school didn't offer soccer or football, so rugby was the only choice. So I did rugby and athletics was sort of my 2 main sports at high school. I was a year younger than everyone, so I had a very late growth spurt, and that 8 years later, I became a Springbok, which I like pinch myself now thinking how short that turnaround is.